Doing all right.
All right. Okay. So Sam, why don't you go down the line again and reintroduce everybody here?
Sure,
all right?
sure. Nathaniel Bray,
Daniel,
Andrew Brookins,
Andrew,
Derek Johnson, and put the guy right there, Groovin Grover Lipkin.
Groove and Grover Lipton.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm watching you guys. You guys aren't having any fun doing this, are you? No, man, you're not. I mean, Groove over there, he just, not enjoying this at all. Man, I'll tell you, this is cool. So, I mean, people that know you from the Confidentials, which you've been around town forever.
Yes, sir.
This is
We've been together since probably, we played our first gig in 2017. We were like a Sam Cooke tribute band.
Yeah.
We entered this blues contest, the Nebraska Blues Challenge, and we ended up winning it. Went down to Memphis. We got to immerse ourselves into the Southern culture and the music, and ended up being semifinalists in what they call the International Blues Challenge. And we just feels good. We play together. Everybody plays different bands and different things. We have fun together.
Yeah. But let's talk about the blues, though. I mean, because that, if you're trying to make a living as a musician in Omaha, Nebraska, is blues the way to go? I mean, it's basically cover bands, is where you make the money, right? I mean,
Right.
so where do you find your audience for Stand on the Chain Gang?
I think that, we wanted to, first of all, do something that was authentic, and play it, the way that the groups played. And then we naturally, just ergonomically, you put together, you start doing things your own style, from the influences. Nate comes from the gospel blues. He played Nate, a former jailbreaker, actually.
Oh, okay.
He's done his own bands. Actually started with Preston Love.
Wow.
So there's a lot of history, Grover Grover and Nate have been playing forever. They're like my big brothers in music, and of course Drew started out in the gospel in the church, and Derek's a music major actually from North Dakota, Fargo, North Dakota. And
Fargo.
He's a music major.
Wow.
And
I lived in Fargo for 8 months.
Yeah, really?
For longest 8 months of my life. It was. I used to joke that I was the only person in Fargo that was not related to somebody else in Fargo, man. It was, that was a place. That was a place there. But unfortunately, I wasn't there during the worst part of the winter, so I lucked out there. But
so it's kind of a love for us. We love that soul R&B, that blues thing, and the band's we got our start in the Sam Cooke, and we germinated there, and kind of we did one original so far. We'll do another one here before the night's over, but it just kind of came together, naturally, not forced or anything.
It's great. I'm loving it. I'm loving it now. And you talked about you played with Preston Love when you started out, and you've been around a long time. I think that's an issue with Omaha. I don't think Omaha celebrates the music history as much as it should. I mean, because Omaha has got some serious music history.
Absolutely. It's really hard to, you ask the question about, is blues the way to go? Commercially speaking, maybe not in this area, but the blues is loved worldwide.
True.
If we were in somewhere else other than Omaha, Nebraska, we'd be doing really well. It's just that we really don't exonerate that history you spoke of, that history from North Omaha, which I speak of North Omaha because we consider that, at least I do consider that, the epicenter of black music, jazz music, blues music, funk, rhythm and blues, and the heritage of who actually is who goes on and on and on. So no, we just play it because we love it. The blues is the kind of music that you just really can't fake it. I estimated where we came in the International Blues Contest, we were somewhere in the top 20. If you actually tabulated how far we made it and which groups actually made it ahead of us, we probably finished in the top 20, and that's on a worldwide recognition. Not a lot was actually given credence for that. I mean, I'm really proud of these fellas. I asked them a lot of times while we were walking down the streets of Memphis, how does it feel to be one of the baddest people walking down here on Bill Street? And that's just true. I mean, I'm putting it number 20. It may have been higher, and I felt we should have actually placed higher. It was some circumstances, that reason why we didn't. I generally, personally speaking, when they first started talking about this blues contest, I didn't want to get into it because most people don't even understand what it is that the competition should be. Should be blues like this or blues like that. So we're walking a kind of a tightrope, to be honest about it, because to be a blues purist, we're really not that. We'd like to be that, but because of commercialism, we play other stuff. Sam Cooke was a big influence, and so that kind of got us going in another direction other than just being blues oriented. But we love the blues. That's the reason why we play.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, it's like you played "Color Him Father," which was a big hit back in the day,
Sure.
you know, and you played some of the Curtis Mayfield, you know, and songs like that. So you can play the blues. I mean, hell, the Rolling Stones are a blues band, you know. I mean,
Right,
if you take a
absolutely.
look at it,
Absolutely.
they just had to rock it out a little bit more for commercial success. But
Sure.
if you look at the foundation of it,
Well,
it's all on the
you know
blues.
why they rocked it out, because that's what they could do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they thought they were imitating the blues masters. I mean,
They
they
thought
were
Muddy
imitating,
Waters.
right? They thought they were imitating
they were Muddy
Waters.
Waters.
They did it to the best of their ability.
Uh-huh.
So then that gave us a whole new texture.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the nature of music.
Yeah,
You do
music,
it to the
yeah,
best of your ability, and then you add your own thing to
Everybody has their own flavor.
it.
Yeah. So you take these classic songs, but you make them your own.
Right. Absolutely.
You make them your own on that, and I really enjoy listening to you guys playing this. You talk about Memphis. I've been to Memphis a couple of times, and if you're a music fan, you got to be there.
You gotta be
You know
there.
what? I never cared for Elvis. I thought because he was a cartoon character to me, right?
Okay.
Until I went to the Sun Studio tour.
Right.
And I heard the stories about Elvis being the truck driver and Elvis starting out, and when he was just a music lover trying to make it, and then you go and you hear the stories, like in the Sun Studios of Ike Turner, was like one of the first people to record there, and you hear all these stuff, and it's like, yeah, the Beale Street,
Right.
nothing's just magical.
So even with Elvis, you mentioned him, for example, there were so many people that influenced him. He thought he was doing a black thing, which that's what he was attempting to do. But then again, what you are and who you are just comes through that music. So he may have started out with an influence of this, that, and the other, but in the end, it's what he added to it that made him the so-called king of rock.
Now, you mentioned a couple of white guys that have taken the blues and tried to, make it their own. If you bring up Pat Boone, then we'll talk credibility, okay? If you bring up Pat Boone, then the conversation's over.
I won't bring him up, but there are people that will and not know the difference.
Although in the history we talked about, the race relations and everything, Pat Boone did help bring Little Richard's music
Sure.
to an audience. Yeah, so some kids would say, it actually was this, and then they found out about Little Richard from there. So
It was nice also when being in Memphis that we got a chance to go to the Lorraine Motel.
Right.
And there's a picture of Drew standing outside of it, one of our videos, and his head, and you got the Lorraine. It's kind of sacred ground. You go there, and you go there. I mean, there's a chill you get.
I remember that you talking about him because I remember how messed up he was after just kind of the experience of realizing what had happened on that spot, and he was right there looking at it, and it tears at you. This country has a problem with looking reality right in the face and then admitting this is what it is. So, but us as black people, us as black musicians out there, when we came across that site, I mean, we had to humble ourselves because
Amen.
what he sacrificed made it so that we can walk with our head a little.
now the museum itself was closed when I was in Memphis. I think a Tuesday they were closed, but I stood outside and I saw the balcony. And so as a white kid, growing up and remembering that time, it stuck with me. And then I lived in Atlanta for a while, and with Martin Luther King, and seeing the Ebenezer Baptist Church and all of that, it does. It is. I mean, people have to understand the history, and that's not to get political for all this abuse and everything here, but
Sure.
but if you take a look at what everybody found out a lot more about Juneteenth in the last couple of weeks,
Absolutely.
and I mean, I always knew it's just some sort of a thing that there was a parade and North Omaha celebrated it, but I didn't really know what it was, and so now knowing about this, a good thing comes out of it.
And music, I mean, Curtis Mayfield, for example, no, he didn't profess to be a prophet or preacher or anything like that, but music is a vehicle to bring forth a message. What we want to do is make the people feel good. We don't want you to feel sad. We don't want to remind you of something really bad, but at the same time, there is a spirit in the music that kind of makes you feel what we feel. And so that's all we're really trying to do is we're trying to, at times we want to bring a message, like Choice of Colors has a message in that music. But at the same time, there's a spiritual thing that goes. It's almost like a gospel type of thing. So gospel music and blues music, they're both music forms that have a feeling. And so all we're trying to do is reach the people with the best of our ability. We're musicians, so we use that music to make you feel. We just want you to feel good.
Yeah,
Really.
well, okay, so all right, so explain to me now. We'll let some of these other gentlemen speak here. Explain to me why the blues makes you feel good. You know, because I mean, you talk about this stuff, and you know, you hear, you know, whatever the message may be, it's you know, your woman leaves you, you know, you're shooting her dead, but yet you feel good about the song, you know.
I think it's the common ground that music gives everyone. You know what I'm saying? When the commonality of we all go through the same type of things, regardless of who you are. You know what I'm saying? As a guy, your woman done left you. We all been there. You know what I'm saying? Even I'm one of the youngest one in the group. But I felt the same thing, you know what I'm saying? Felt that same pain, and I think that's what it is with blues it's loving the pain almost. You know what I'm saying? Or learning to deal with it. You know, drinking your sorrows away that night. Next day you gotta get up and go to work.
Now, listen, you play the keyboards, you know, and you've got the blues feeling there, but I'm not, you know, yeah, you're the white guy in the band, you know? How the hell that happened?
Brother from another mother.
If I didn't know, I wouldn't know.
No, for me, it's listening to the masters, right, and trying to cop whatever you can from them. And you know, blues isn't a complicated music, so you can't really hide in it. You gotta. It's all about feeling and emotion. So that's what we gotta put out there.
Yeah. And Ruben, what about you?
Same thing. It's easy. Same thing he said. It's easy. As far as like playing guitar, the less you play in certain areas, the better it sounds. Like B.B. King, you know, he didn't play a whole bunch of flying around stuff. You know, he just played a couple notes and make you, and it said a whole lot.
Made you
It
feel
said,
those
yeah,
couple
you
notes.
feel every note,
Right.
and you know it's him when you hit that note. You know, what I mean, you know B.B. when you hear it.
Blue note.
So that's what it is. And blue is my favorite color too. So. And blue on Sesame Street is blue.
Right.
So if you could choose a color, you'd choose blue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tom, after we got finished playing the second night, it was a Friday night, was Thursday night in Memphis, and we ended up playing. We played at the Rum Boogie Cafe. It's kind of iconic bar right on Beale Street there, and we just had a great set, and you know, the crowd was standing up almost there, and we knew we walked off the stage that night. We knew that we had done something there that night, and when we went back to the hotel and hung out, and I think about 2 or 3 o'clock, Nate comes up and goes, "Hey, we're semi-finalists." And it was like, wow, you know. Well, so we headed back the next day, you know. So we ended up pulling another day out of it, and it was just a great experience to be on Beale Street. I was watching last night. Martin Luther King went to Memphis, you know, to march with the sanitation workers, and I watched that show, and they were on Beale Street.
Yeah.
They were on the riot. They're marching on Beale Street, and it was interesting just to know that you had been there, you know. And I didn't know that, you know, they had marched right through there, by the place, right where we played actually.
Yeah.
So it's just doing that, going to Memphis and doing that. It was a real good experience for us, and it kind of, in a lot of ways, it brought us together, you know, even more, you know, because, you know, we knew we had something.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Okay. So you talk about Beale Street. Beale Street has got a lot of great clubs up and down. I mean,
B.B.
there's
King's.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's a lot like Nolans in that regard. You know, I mean, there's just music everywhere. You know.
Absolutely.
So, but now, what are you doing here with the quarantine and COVID and all that? I mean, as a musician,
Holding out.
I mean,
holding out.
this is cool. This is cool. You know what?
Not laying up at our house.
Yeah. No, everybody's just hanging out here playing. Huh? You know, I mean,
Live streaming.
so yeah, because like you did the Summer Arts Festival last week, right?
Yeah, we were at the Summer Arts Festival.
Which was
2
all
weeks ago.
virtual. 2 weeks ago. That was all virtual, just like this. Yeah.
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 It's great to be able to play though. I mean, we hadn't really played that much, so it's great to be able to get out and have a vehicle to play in a venue.
Yeah.
This is we enjoyed our time at Mars Bar, and the Growler was some of our best shows down there. In fact, we ended up recording a few things that put out. We're going to do tonight, Chain Gang, the Sam Cooke classic Chain Gang, and but just good folks here. These guys are all about music, and all about helping musicians, and love them, and we just love being here
Great
tonight.
energy.
Yeah.
Mars and Brent. Best
Yeah, and I mean, Omaha does have some incredible musicians, and there is a great music scene here in town. Matter of fact, I mean, what Mars did and what they were doing there, and then you have the Jewel. You played the Jewel just in January,
One
right?
of the last bands to play there, actually.
Yeah, and that's opening up again, I guess, next month. I heard that today that they're going to be opening up again next month, and that's a place that I hope Omaha will support because because live original music or music like blues that isn't you're not doing Huey Lewis and the News cover songs. I mean you're doing stuff like that needs to be supported, and Omaha needs to be supporting these places.
Brian Brian has a good understanding.
Oh, Brian knows his music. Yeah.
He knows his music, and he gets the top notch. He gets good stuff in there.
Yeah, he
all
does.
the time.
Yeah, he does. So.
The venue is sweet, and even as a musician, to play in there, it feels good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He has good quality stuff. You don't have to, and when you just get to walk in and plug up or walk in with
It's kind of
sticks.
like this.
Right.
Yeah.
That's heaven, especially for a drummer. But the room is great, and he keeps great sound technicians and stuff, so it makes it really easy. And then that New York vibe, it's like you out of town playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a love the jewel, great place to play.
I used to play drums, and you'd be in the band, and you'd just be everybody else be ready to play, and then I did stand up comedy for a bunch of years. That was great. I just walk in, there's a microphone, boom, no drums. That was But all right, so I guess what we got looking forward here in the second half of your set.
Some more blues and soul, and we're going to do a gospel tune also.
All right, cool. Well, all right, gentlemen. Thank you, man. This is great. I'm loving this. And then we'll let you get back to the music. And do you have any gigs lined up to promote right now? Probably not, huh?
No.
Just,
Not right now.
Not right now. Well,
That's
That's
one
the
thing
Room
about
Bombs
the
tour.
COVID-19. It's changed a lot of things forever, in a certain way, and it's going to be really difficult. I can see for the clubs, in the restaurants. Nobody can really operate at 50%. The bands
They
can't
actually
really.
are opening back up to 75. Cause
Even
even
at 75, because
Yeah.
I mean, when you got
It helps
expenses
a lot.
like you got to hire the band, you got to cook the food, you got to buy the food. I don't think that, in my opinion, I just don't see music ever getting back to 100% until we actually come to the milestone of a vaccine or something. It's going to be difficult to get live music to go back, because they're even saying that if you sing, you shouldn't do too much singing in public, or, and things like that. Things that we do, like it's difficult for us to come into a place and it's not our equipment or something like that, and just trust that, the microphones are set and sanitized. All this is it's a game changer
yeah.
for real.
No, it is. Well,
People don't want to come out. They're used to being home right now. They don't really want to come out if they have to wear a mask, if they have to be, all the stuff that you have to do. So it's going to be difficult for music and music venues and for restaurants and bars and everybody that entertainment or that is like a self-gig type of person. It's going to be hard.
Yeah.
I think we
There'll
can.
be a lot of adjustments, and a lot of people have to be a little flexible, but things will work out. The music's not going nowhere.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, hey Brent, why don't you put that graphic up on the screen? And if people want to the tip jar, they want to show a little love here, a little support for Stan and the Chain Gang, to go to their Venmo account or the PayPal account. And
And I want to thank Tom, because I've known Tom casually for, I don't know, 10
been a while,
15 years.
yeah.
And it's nice to have a familiar face and someone that's so good at this kind of thing, to be able to come in here and really legitimize what we're trying to do here. We're trying to, had wanted to do this before we knew the COVID thing was coming. When we knew we were closing, we were like, okay, what do you want to do? Well, we like the music. Let's do a streaming show. Okay.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there's no gigs. We're like, well, shit, we better go now.
Yeah.
And
Right on
so,
time.
and it's been, and you know, this is a kind of a crazy thing to do, but we're just loving it. And to have Rick Lucia last week, to have Tom Becca tonight, it just warms our heart that everyone, we've had 5,000 viewers on this thing in Omaha. It's amazing.
Well, I want to support this sort of a thing because you're right. As musicians, you know, we need the music.
Right.
We need the music, and, you know, and not. I mean, as a listener, need the music, and you know, you guys are so talented. So this is a way to get it out there. I mean, you talk about how things are changing.
Right. This is one thing that's changing.
Yeah, I mean, with me, I started doing a little thing called. I started doing a little Facebook Live. I call it Breakfast with Becca.
I see you in the morning.
Yeah, in the morning, a little
Yep.
thing. All right, Breakfast with Becca. My boss heard it, and now I'm doing a half-hour show on Fox 42. The same thing, you know, using Facebook, and people are commenting on stuff. So I'm talking to them while I'm doing this. So it's a completely different from what I was doing, but you find a way to use your skills and adapt
That's it.
to the new whatever the new thing
And
is. You
your
know?
posts are very insightful, actually.
Oh, they're scary sometimes.
I see you in the morning. I see you in the morning.
Yeah, that's my Facebook page. Yeah, thank God for Scotch.
Hey, brother, man, you do it smooth, though.
I
You do it
try to.
smooth.
You know, look, you know, we all have our talents. You know, and
Right
that's,
on.
that's what I do. You know,
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
that. But I've always enjoyed coming out and supporting the live music here in Omaha and,
You always
and the
have.
musicians and hearing you guys play because what you do is you know, you make it look easy, but it ain't. And I
Well, it ain't easy being greasy, bro.
you know, I've picked up the guitar a time or two, and I can do 3 chords strumming, you know. But man, when you start doing a lead lick like that, it's like, yeah, no, that ain't right. I can't do that. That's something else. So, gentlemen, let's get
Yeah,
back.
fill up your drinks, guys. We're gonna everybody grab your drinks at home.
All right,
Thanks
all right.
again, Tom.
All right, thank you,
for
man.
joining
This is
us.
fun.
And we're gonna get everything back online. So
All right.
refill your drinks.
And
we're
put a little money there in the tip jar there. Yes.
absolutely.
Tip to tip.
Show these guys some love right here.